welcome back to Slay the Day with Jessica Rose. So first and foremost, I apologize. I know it has been over a month since I've posted. Life has hit me hard, and by life I mean this semester. As many of you know, I'm back in school, so I just had a lot on my plate and I just could not factor in any time to film a vlog. Today I'm going to be focusing on why I decided to leave my job at UGG. If you follow me on Snapchat, you already saw a rant about it, but it was very condensed and it was very in the moment, so a lot of things that I said were impulsive. So today I'm just going to be diving in a little bit deeper so you guys can really know why I decided to leave that job. I am in no way bashing the brand. I love UGG. I really do. If you know me, you know I have way more pairs than I need, and I will continue to add to that collection because I just love the shoes. My decision to leave UGG was based off of the fact that who you work with really can determine whether or not you like a job or if you can't stand a job. So let me start from the very beginning. So I started working at the local UGG store in like late July / early August of 2015. Basically, I live semi-close to an outlet mall and we were opening a store there. So I've been there from the beginning. Everyone that I worked with in the beginning was great, fabulous. Like, I enjoyed my manager. She was cool. My assistant store manager, we're like the same person but in two different bodies, barely. I was working with Rachel at the time too. I did her makeup in one of the videos, and then there were just other people, and they were perfectly chill, perfectly fine, like no complaints whatsoever. I was also working another job, so let me just be clear. I was working at an orthopedic clinic, so I have since ended there. My contract ended and I decided not to renew it because I would have had to transfer to another site, and there's no guarantee that my scheduling would have been as flexible as I needed to be with school. My first red flag came about, I don't know, 7 months or so into the job. It was in February of last year. One of the key holders, he made some comments during a shift that I found very offensive and inappropriate, especially coming from someone who's in a leadership position. He made comments about people with depression and comments on how a woman's body should look, and in my opinion, very inappropriate for the workplace and just very inappropriate in general. During that shift, I went ahead and I texted my assistant store manager because he was also working, but he was somewhere else at that time. I was like, you need to come back to the store right now because like so-and-so, I'm not gonna say his name, I was like, so-and-so is saying some very offensive things and I'm ready to throw a shoe at his face. So he comes back into the store and he has to sit down and talks with homeboy. I don't know if he was trying to be malicious, but he did like actually hurt my feelings. Prior to this incident, I would say he was one of the employees that like I talked to the most. So I was like, who the hell do you think you are? Like, do you want to get hit? I was glad that my assistant store manager sat down with him, but I made sure to also reach out to our store manager and I let her know. I was like, hey, you know, going forward, I really just don't want to work with him like on the same shift. He said some very offensive things that truly got to me, and I think it is in everybody's best interest if you don't put us on the same shift. She was very accommodating, which was awesome because I didn't have to take it any higher. I didn't need to reach out to HR. If we could keep it in there and, you know, just settle it right then and there, then perfect. As time goes on, people are still leaving because life or what have you, and so eventually I'm put back on the same shifts with him, which is fine. But there was never any conversation like, hey, are you ready to work with him again? Can we have a sit down? Can we discuss this? Because there was never any apology. There was never any sort of acknowledgement that he had done something wrong. And in my opinion, that was very unprofessional. How do you expect me to take orders from somebody who can't even like respect who I am as a person? Because I don't play that. I really do not. Okay, I just suck it up because at the end of the day, I'm trying to make some money. Okay, so I suck it up and I continue to work these shifts, but his presence just irked me. Dude, I don't like you. I did not speak to him. I did not say a word to him for over like 8 months. It got to the point where my assistant store manager found out that he had gotten the job to be the store manager at another UGG store that was going to be opening up at the end of October. I was so happy for him. Him leaving would mean that I would either have to work more with this key holder that I did not like, or he would be replaced by another assistant store manager. that I did not like. And I'm not saying like I knew I wasn't gonna like them from the jump. I'm just saying that his personality was very contagious. There's really no replacing that. So he's about to leave, and I'm like, let me just go ahead and make amends with this key holder because I don't know who the hell they're about to bring on, so I'd rather, you know, be comfortable talking to him. There was one day where it was just me and him in the back, and I was like, so are you ready to like acknowledge that you said offensive things or even apologize for them? That's the reason I do not talk to you anymore, is because one, you said them, but like 8 months, 9 months down the line, you still have not acknowledged it. You have not apologized. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I didn't say that to him, but I said it in my head. And he was like, well, there's other people to talk to. No, I was not gonna forgive him. No, I don't care who they bring on. I don't care if it's Satan himself. I'm not gonna be nice to this key holder, okay? Lo and behold, we have to get new management. Also, we had to get a ton of new employees because it was around that time where the season, holiday season was starting up, and that's where business picks up the most because Ugg boots, cold weather, you know, Christmas gifts, basic girls, etc. It just all makes sense that business is about to get crazy. So, you know, a bunch of... Hold on. I was recording. So we had a bunch of new people coming on for the holidays, and so we had our new assistant store manager who was coming from the store where our store manager had previously worked. So she knew her, she was bringing her on, and then the new assistant store manager actually handled the majority of the hiring for the rest of the seasonals. So my first time working with the new assistant store manager, it was fine. It was just a regular shift. My second or third shift, I was working with her. It was a closing shift. And at one point there was a task that needed to be done that involved getting on like the 13-foot ladder. And I don't do that. Like, yes, I'm tall, but I don't get on the 13-foot ladder, and everybody who works there knows that. I'll get on the step stools, I'll get on the shorter ladder, but I'm not gonna get on the tall ladder. It freaks me out. I don't know why. I'm not even afraid of heights. So there was a task that needed to be done. Basically, it was taking shoes that had come in shipment and putting them up above like all of our storage units. One of the girls was like, hey, can you help me with this? And I was like, sure. I was like, but I'm not getting on the ladder. She's like, oh, come on, please, please. I'm like, no, you can get on the ladder and I'll hand you the shoes from the floor, but I'm not getting on the ladder. It wasn't like I was saying, oh, to hell with this task, I'm not gonna do it. I was saying that I wasn't gonna get on the ladder. And she was like, oh, come on, insert name here. The key holder who I don't like because of his offensive comments was the one who gave the task. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not doing it now. Do you really think that that's a selling point for me to do this task? So meanwhile, our assistant store manager's in the back doing nothing. And so she wasn't there for that whole interaction. She didn't hear anything go down. She doesn't even understand why I don't like the key holder. And if she knew his comments about what he said about women's body types, she wouldn't like him either. She doesn't know any of this, okay? She doesn't know. She came in here thinking she knew everything, stirring pots. The next time I work, I have my store manager pull me aside and she's like, well, what's it gonna take for you to, you know, squash this whole animosity towards key holder? I'm like, well, for one, he's never apologized, he's never acknowledged it. You started putting me back on the schedule with him, so I was forced into, you know, a position that made me uncomfortable with no sort of resolution to it. I was like, so obviously I'm gonna feel some type of way and I am gonna be vocal about it. I'm never vocal about it to customers because I would never let them know that I don't like another employee here because I don't want to ruin their experience. And at that point I was starting to regret like not taking it to HR because it was like, I trusted you as a manager and I thought you were gonna handle it, but now it's like you're almost making him the victim. And she was like, well, you know, we can definitely have a sit down. I was like, oh, now you want to have a sit down? Because I approached him about a month ago asking him if he was going to acknowledge it or apologize or anything, and I got nothing. Yeah, we can have a sit down, but I don't really know what that's going to do. And she was like, well, you know, it's been brought to my attention that, you know, recently you didn't do a task that he gave the order like for, and we can't be having that. I didn't do a task because it involved me getting on the big ladder, which you are very aware I am very uncomfortable doing, so I don't know where you're getting these, you know, facts from. I was like, who the heck just went and told her that I didn't do a task because he was the one who gave the order? Everyone knew I disliked him and everyone knew I disliked the ladders except for one newbie. One of my coworkers comes up, she's like, yeah, assistant store manager told, you know, manager that you didn't do this task and she's been talking to everybody about it. I'm like, oh, she's been talking to everybody except for me, the person involved. How are you gonna be in a leadership position and talk to everybody about somebody except to that actual person? Are we children? If you have an issue with someone, you confront them, and then if nothing changes, then you go over their heads and take it to somebody. I've never talked about anybody behind their backs and then gone to them or gone over their heads and talked about them. So from the jump, I didn't like her. The other key holder, God bless his heart, he tries, but he's an idiot. How many times do I have to tell you to read the boxes so that you can stop telling customers that shoes that are not waterproof are waterproof? You know what's gonna happen is somebody's gonna buy a pair of shoes one of these days thinking that they're waterproof because you told them that they were, and then they step in a puddle of water thinking, oh, it's gonna be okay because my shoes are waterproof. Then a week later, once the shoes are dry, they're all crusty and discolored because you know what? They weren't waterproof to begin with. You need to read up on the products that we're selling before you give these alternative facts to customers. Anytime there was a closing shift with him, he'd want people to stay like an hour late. No, I plan my stuff around my work schedule, and so if I'm expected to get out at this time, yes, there's wiggle room, of course, things happen, I'll stay a little bit late, but if that's happening every single time with you, then the problem is you. You don't know how to prioritize, and I don't have time for that crap. I was helping out my manager at another store, and she was like, hey, what are your thoughts on key holder? Aside from the fact that he seems to step on people's toes, like when they're helping a customer, he'll try to interject and take their customers. He also doesn't seem to like have really good product knowledge because he'll tell things to customers that are not necessarily true about the product, and I think that that could really lead to more harm than good in the future. So he just needs to educate himself. It's not like I went to snitch him out or anything like that, but she asked. He doesn't get any sort of talk about that, or if he does, he doesn't listen. You know what happens instead? He allegedly gets employee of the month. And I put allegedly because apparently the managers are saying, oh, that's not even a real thing. There's documents on the computer that prove that employee of the month is a thing. Why are you gonna lie to us? We're not stupid. We know how to use technology. We know how to look stuff up. At this point, I'm fed up with the manager because she's just, you know, two-faced and doesn't know how to talk to people to their face. I'm fed up with one key holder because he says offensive things and he's not willing to take responsibility for it. I'm fed up with the other key holder because he's just an idiot. It's time for me to go. I was actively looking for a position, and I knew that once I got that job offer, I was going to send in my 2 weeks notice. This is when all hell broke loose in my mind because it really exposed how unprofessional some of that management staff was. So I sent my 2 weeks notice like email in. It was very pleasant, thanking them for the experience, letting them know that I wanted the upcoming weekend to be my last weekend, but out of respect for them, I could definitely work the next one, although I preferred not to. I had a very pleasant experience. If there was anything I could do on my end to make the transition easier, let me know. And then I sent it. It was very pleasant. I sent it to the store manager, and I sent it to the assistant store manager. I got no response. And I'm very, very, very accessible via email, via text, via phone. I'm very accessible. At my other job when I was working at the clinic, I was in a leadership position. So I had people send me their 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 weeks, whatever notices all the time. And I always replied. I always said, you know, hey, thanks for letting me know. You know, before you leave, I need you to fill this out, or is there anything you need from me? Or I would wish them best of luck in whatever they were doing next. I always replied. Next day, one of my coworkers sends me a screenshot on Snapchat saying, oh, they sent out the new schedule and your name's not on it. I was like, okay, that's fine. I asked not to be on the schedule. But nobody replied to my email acknowledging that they had read it. Who does that? I'm just asking you to say, hey, I got your email, thanks for letting us know. You don't just read an email and not reply. What? What's wrong with you? That's when I went off. I made that very, very, very heated Snapchat rant, which a lot of y'all saw. I made it clear, if you're watching this with, you know, one of the managers or key holders, turn the volume up. Let them hear it because I've got some words. I said some things and I know some feelings were hurt. My intentions were to tell people about themselves and to be forthright and honest. As soon as I posted the rant, I was over it. I was like, this is just proof that I made the right decision to leave. I'm done with it. It doesn't matter. A week later, I'm still having people hit me up being like, so-and-so is still upset about this, or so-and-so is asking about this. I don't care. At this point, I don't care. Y'all choose to worry about the petty things like my little Snapchat rant, but you can't address things like an employee allegedly stealing money or an employee, you know, telling customers wrong information. It just makes no sense to me. I think I was working with unprofessional people and it was just time for me to go. Every time I went, I was miserable. I was unhappy, which sucks because I was very passionate about the brand. I love the shoes, like I said, and I love UGG brand. I would never stop buying them because of my experience there. The group of people that I was working with towards the end of my time there, not the beginning, because the beginning was great. Towards the end of my time there just really made it a miserable experience and it was time for me to go. I highly recommend that everyone work in retail at some point in their life because it really opens your eyes as to, one, how trifling people are when they shop, and it'll hopefully make you a better customer. It also opens your eyes to how petty certain people can be in the workplace. So if you don't have a job now and you're ever looking for a job, you know what not to do. Lastly, let me say this to all of the people that I did work with and you guys made it a really enjoyable time. You know, I wish you the best of luck in whatever you guys are doing. I know that you guys are capable of doing amazing things and I've had, you know, the privilege of working with you and I wouldn't take that back for anything. Those of you who I clearly did not like, I pray that you guys will actively seek ways to improve how you work and that you will not make the same mistakes in the future because it will really end up tarnishing the brand. It'll tarnish the UGG name and nobody wants that at the end of the day. Thanks everyone for watching. As always, follow me on Snapchat, follow me on Instagram at Jessica Suave. Okay, bye.